What's the one thing, just one thing, that you think is the most significant thing you've done so far in these 100 days?
Well, I think maybe the border is the most significant because our country was really going bad. They were allowing people to come in from prisons, as you know, and you've heard me say it, but you've heard a lot of people say it. Prisons, mental institutions, gang members, murderers. We had many murderers, 11,888, they think. Some murdered more than one person. So you had murderers coming in, you had everybody coming in, and not just South America, from all over the world. They were emptying their prisons into our country. And now it's totally closed down. And you've seen just yesterday, they announced 99.9%. Nobody thought that could happen. And it happened quickly, very quickly. And I think that's very significant. But we're doing other things that are very significant. Results will take a little bit longer because it's one of those, you know, it's complicated. It's many years of trading abuse. We've been abused by other countries for years and years. They laughed at us. They thought we were stupid people. And we're fixing it. And I think that's going to be very, very important. But
I have a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, I would really say that the border is so important.
Said it is an undeniable fact that illegal crossings at the southern border have plummeted, a staggering decline. But there are questions about your methods. And so I want to ask
about my message?
Methods. About your methods. How you're accomplishing
they seem to
this.
work.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across the stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst, I have to be honest.
This is going to be a recap video, kind of Trump's first 100 days. He did an interview with ABC News, as you saw from the intro. A lot of little spectacular moments there. And I think that Trump's first 100 days, he's kept a lot of his promises. He made attempts at birthright citizenship. Inflation has been trending downwards, right? And he just needs to pass his first bill because everything he's done is through executive order. And he's been given the results that he promised. And I think out of his first 100 days, the most significant was the border. It's hands down the most impactful issue. The reporter brought it up, the ABC reporter brought it up in the intro, and you saw Trump said, hey, you may be complaining, but it's working, right? You got Democrats putting out fake narratives like Barack Hussein Obama's wife, Michelle Obama, talking about how she stays up at night because people illegals are getting deported. And it goes back to the point that I've been mentioning a lot on this channel, is that Democrats, they know they can't, they know their strategy doesn't appeal to the American people. And I saw something somewhere that if you remove every illegal out of this country, Democrats lose about 20 House seats. And you see why they vote viciously against any legislation that requires voter ID, some sort of identification to verify if you're an American citizen, why they fight against laws to restrict birthright citizenship. You see why they go against laws that says that you only should count the census based on your American population, not on your total population, because a lot of these Democrats, illegals is synonymized with voters for them. And I want to play a couple clips about, some people's reaction. And a question I want to ask you before going to these reactions of how the MSNBC frames it and then how a street interview frames it.
The White House framing this first 100 days as a smashing economic success. Shaq, the polls show otherwise. You've spoken to Trump voters there in Michigan. Where do they land?
Well, Anna, in my conversations with Trump's biggest supporters here, they acknowledge the reality that you guys are talking about. They see and feel the impacts of the tariffs. They see the softening market, the looming price increases because of the tariffs, but they say they are sticking with him for multiple reasons. One, they say this is what he promised on the campaign trail. It came as no surprise to them, even with the impacts that we're talking about. And two, they say that this is something that they believe in. It's a mission they ultimately believe in and a goal of bringing back manufacturing to the United States. Listen to how his supporters explained it to me.
Nobody likes to pay more for anything. I don't. But in the long run, I think it's going to be good.
The tariffs, they don't scare me at all. My money went down just like everybody else's. My investments in there coming right back up. It doesn't faze me a bit.
I know that as a country we are owe a lot. You know, we're in a lot of debt, and if those tariffs are going to help bring back more to our economy, I'm all for it.
Anna, in some cases, you heard some of his supporters essentially repeating the analogy that he uses sometimes when he talks about a sick patient, in that you might have some tough moments in the beginning, but this is ultimately going to lead to a country that is stronger and healthier. It's clear that his base is sticking with him, even as when you look at polling among the general population, this is an issue that shows to be pretty risky for his presidency.
Feel Donald Trump has done in his first 100 days in office?
I mean, as the meme goes, this is what I voted for. People have a very interesting way where they'll remember the one thing they don't like and forget magically the 9 things that went well. The border's closed. Illegal crime is substantially down because illegals are now afraid of being arrested. We're seeing punishment for some of these sort of terror-supporting various students that are magically students into their 30s for 10 years at a time. As far as the markets go, the markets are, as I understand them, a reflection of where people believe things may be headed or things may be worth. They're not actualized losses. The tariffs are part of his plan, as will the tax cuts that I expect will be coming soon. But people don't talk about the fact that prices are down, be it eggs or be it fuel or groceries for that matter, or inflation for that matter. It's just, isn't it amazing that the people who a year ago were saying how the stock market is for horrible fascist capitalist pigs are now extremely worried about the stock market in which they own no stocks? Fascinating. Isn't that fascinating?
And I know you guys want to see the interview, but I kind of want to push back against these narratives, because I keep talking about how liberal bias overwhelmingly sways the news and the perception. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, the stock market is a reflection of how people feel about the future of the economy. And this is why the prices are down. But also, I believe it's a media-driven narrative, right? Here's Scott Bassett, when he is questioned by a reporter about Trump's tariffs. Here's how he decided to respond. And I think it's very much more accurate what he's saying. Because if you look, I talked about it before. I told you the numbers with China, that we are their biggest consumers of their exports. And if they're tariffing us, their biggest consumer market, it's not sustainable. It's logically impossible to sustain this. But the media don't want to ask these kind of deep questions. They keep trying to frame it as if Trump is the one losing out on this trade war. And I think Scott Bassett gives a very substantive answer here.
Is the administration talking to Beijing specifically about tariffs or not?
Well, we're not going to talk about who's talking to whom, but I think that over time we will see that the Chinese tariffs are unsustainable for China. I've seen some very large numbers over the past few days that show if these numbers stay on, Chinese could lose 10 million jobs very quickly.
And that's a true statement, right? What about the Kilmar Obrego Garcia situation? There's a 2018 court case thing that's floating around, right? This was reported by the New York Post, and there's a case number there. So I guess if someone wants to validate that, they can. And in there, it alleged that the I don't know who reported it, but she is dating a gang member. Right. So now you can say, hey, that's just an assumption made by, a third party person. Right. But end of the day, I always going to stick to this narrative. If the left was allowed to think that Pete Hegseth was a white supremacist because of certain tattoos, and then in the same breath want to sit here and pretend that, it's unsubstantive for people to assume that Abrego Garcia is an MSRT member because he has tattoos, it's kind of ridiculous here. And it's kind of showing the hypocrisy of these journalists.
But the court has ordered you to facilitate that.
I'm not the one making this decision. We have lawyers that don't want to do this.
But the buck stops in this office.
No. I follow the law. You want me to follow the law? If I were the president that just wanted to do anything, I'd probably keep him right where he is.
Supreme Court says what the law is.
Listen, I was elected to take care of a problem.
Sorry, I had a problem with his statement there. The Supreme Court decides what the law is. No, they don't. The Constitution decides what the laws is. The House decide that. All the Supreme Court is supposed to be is a referee.
It was a unforced error that was made by a very incompetent man, a man that turned out to be incompetent, that you always said was wonderful, a great genius, right? And now you find out All of the media now, they're saying what a mistake they made. A man who was grossly incompetent allowed us to have open borders where millions of people flowed in. I campaigned on that issue. I wouldn't say it was my #1 issue, but it was pretty close.
Right up there.
I campaigned on that issue. I've done an amazing job. I have closed borders. He said you couldn't do it. You wouldn't be able to do it. It would never happen. Well, it happened, and it happened very quickly. Wait a minute. When we have criminals, murderers, criminals in this country, we have to get them out, and we're doing it.
By law.
And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
There's a dispute
But
over that.
wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
That interpreted this is how the media gets caught up. They don't do this kind of reframing. They always try to reframe what's going on. Trump calls something out we all observe in reality. Hey, dude got these tattoos that are commonly used on MS-13 members. MS-13 members are starting to not even require tattoos anymore because they keep getting busted in El Salvador or wherever these gangs originated from because people can't identify them due their certain tattoos. And Trump says, hey, I see those certain tattoos on his wrist, right? You got court documents from 2018 alleging that he was a gang member. You got informants that work in these gangs alleging he's a gang member, but the media wants to challenge the framing of the president of the United States to justify him staying in the country. And even if it's proven to be false, like Donald Trump, he wasn't an MS-13 member, he just liked to have the tattoos of one. Fine. He still came into this country illegally and he still needs to be deported. There's no justification for him to stay. There's no grounds for him to stay here, honestly. You got served deportation papers in 2019, but the media, they go out of their way to defend it. Why? I don't know.
Interpreted that way, but let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was photoshopped. So let me
That was photoshopped. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. I picked you, Terry. But you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshop? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir.
Terry,
I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but
they're in your picture.
Terry,
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
Well, we'll take a look at that.
You do such a disservice.
We'll take a look at that,
Why don't you just say, yes, he does, and
because he can't give you any credibility like that. He can't give you ground like that. And these are the things that people start having doubts about the media, right? Media says one thing, then there's reports saying that he was a gang member, right? 2018, he had deportation papers. 2019, but here they are still defending him. Why? Political motive, in my honest view, right? So he wanted to talk about Putin.
Don't
you
forget,
think he wants peace? You think Vladimir Putin wants peace?
I think he does, yes. I think he does. I think because
even with the raining missiles
I think he really, his dream was to take over the whole country. I think because of me, he's not going to do that.
Do you trust him? Do you trust him?
I don't trust you. I don't trust a lot of people. I don't trust you. Look at you. You come in all shooting for bear. You're so happy to do the interview.
I am happy.
Then you start hitting me with fake questions. You start telling me that a guy whose hand is covered with a tattoo doesn't have the tattoo. You know, I mean,
but
you're being
Trump's holding grudges.
No, I'm not. Let me just tell you, I don't trust a lot of people. But I do think this. I think that let's say he respects me. And I believe because of me, he's not going to take over the whole. But his decision, his choice would be to take over all of Ukraine. Okay. It's a war that never should have happened. The fighting. Don't forget.
Yeah, it's a war that should have never happened, and it may have not happened under Trump. And Hey, say what you want. I know, no liberals are gonna be mad, but liberals, y'all been mad for a while, bro. Like, if you see the news articles out here, CNN poll shows that Americans are frustrated and disappointed based on the state of politics, right? Based on their politics, right? New polling shows that Democrats are angry and disillusioned. Not surprising after they doubled down on their failed ideas that just lost them another election. Just 4% of Democrats reported feeling inspired by politics. And this is why a lot of these left-wing channels, they're complaining about their viewerships going down. MSNBC collapsing on itself to the point they had to fire Joy Reid and others. This is why. Because every time Democrats look at politics, they can't believe the guy won. Right? Everyone and their mama, Shank Ugert was saying Kamala Harris was going to win the election. And then when she lose, he goes, I told you she wasn't going to win the election. Like, come on, guy. Come on, guy. I pay attention to all, like, I remember it vividly during my live stream. I did an 8-hour live stream, like something ridiculous on this channel. I stayed up until late, until I saw Donald Trump win. That's when I went to sleep. And Destiny, all these people, they were freaking out. Oh yeah, Biden's, not Biden. Kamala Harris is going to win Pennsylvania. I said, in what world does Kamala Harris win Pennsylvania when she's the most progressive Democrat to ever run for national office? What in what world? In what world is that true? Kyle Kalinske, Trump's going to lose Iowa. That's his most memorable place. Trump's gonna lose Iowa, and they'll find out it was a fake poll. And this is the outcomes people are seeing. Like, when we see every time, hey, this left-wing streamer makes a prediction don't come true. This right-wing streamer makes a prediction, it's close. The reality is closer to what this person was saying. That's how you build credibility. This is why they can't have debates with people on the right. Because every time they look at evidence, oh, Trump supporters are regretting their decision. I just showed you a clip of Trump supporters still standing behind Donald Trump. In previous videos, I showed you polls showing that 95% of people who voted for Trump said that they'll still vote for Trump given everything that transpired. Hurting the media narrative that, oh, Trump voters are regretting their decision. I've seen more Democrats regret voting for Democrats than people regret voting for Trump. And that's just a fact. But let me know your thoughts and perspective in the comment section below. I'll be interested to hear your thoughts, your perspective. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Please share this video if you feel so inclined. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.